Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope that you are fine today and ready to learn the basics of English grammar. Before we start our today's lecture, I want you to subscribe my channel and click the bell icon so that you may receive the regular updates about my videos. Here is the topic of our today's discussion. We shall be doing active and passive voice of present indefinite tense. Before I tell you about the proper definition of active and passive voice, I want you to have a look at these sentences. They are two in number. Here is the first sentence. She sang a song. She here is the subject or doer of the action. As you already know that the subject is the person or thing which performs the action. Sang here is the transitive verb. Actually, the verb which has an object is known as transitive verb in English grammar. And a song here is the object of this transitive verb. Have a look at second sentence. She sang at night. Here she is the subject. Sang is the intransitive verb here because it does not have any object. The verb which does not have an object is known as intransitive verb. It is just opposite to the transitive verb. In this statement, at night is the complement. So the verb in this second statement is intransitive verb, while the verb in the first statement is transitive verb. You should note that the sentence which has the structure like subject plus verb plus object can be converted into its passive voice form, but the sentence which does not have such such structure cannot be converted into passive voice. So the first sentence can be converted into its passive voice form, but the second sentence cannot be converted into its passive voice form. Here is the definition of active voice. The verb is said to be in active voice if the subject of the sentence is the doer of the action and the object receives the action. In simple words, you can say that if your subject is performing the action and the object is receiving the action, the verb is supposed to be in its active voice form. For example, she sang a song. She, as you already know, subject. Sang is the transitive verb. A song is the object. So here she is performing the action and a song is receiving the action. So the verb sang here is in its active voice form. But when the subject of the sentence is not the doer of the action, but is acted upon by the verb, it is said to be in the passive voice form. If the subject takes the position of the object and object takes the position of the subject and the subject does not actually performs the action, it is said to be in its passive voice form. For example, a song was sung by her. You see that here in the first sentence, a song was the object. It has been brought in the start of the sentence and it has taken the position of the sentence. So our sentence would look like a song was sung by her. Was sung here is the verb in its passive voice form. By is here a compulsory addition that we do while converting the given active voice sentence into its passive voice form. And you can see that she here was the subject. Now it has taken the position of the object, so we will convert she into its passive voice form, which is her. Here the subject took the position of the object. We make necessary changes while converting a given active voice sentence into its passive voice form. Today we shall talk about the present indefinite tense. First, I will tell you about the transformation of active voice into passive voice rules. Following rules are applicable. Number one, the object of the verb in active voice comes to occupy the subject position in the passive voice. Number two, the main form of the verb is changed into its third form. Remember that you always put third form of verb in your passive voice sentences. The third rule states that a suitable auxiliary or helping verb is added in the passive voice sentence. The fourth rule states that by is added in the passive voice sentence. But sometimes you omit that as well. I'll tell you with the help of the examples. And the last rule says that the subject of the active voice may be left out of the sentence in the passive voice. Depends upon the situation. We shall talk about uh, in the examples about all these rules. Now, let's talk about the present indefinite active voice, and then we shall convert that into its passive voice form. Here are the rules. The object will take the position of the subject. You will change do or does, which comes in your negative sentences, into their is, am, or are forms. Means if your sentence is negative, you do not add do or does in the passive voice. Instead, you add is, am, or are. The third point is that you always use third form of the verb along with by. I have already told you that in the passive voice, you always put third form of the verb in all kinds of sentences. The fourth rule states that you convert the pronouns into their passive form. For example, we decorate the house. Now, how would you identify that this is the present indefinite tense? This is the affirmative sentence of present indefinite tense. Following this formula, I have written this sentence. If you want to know about the proper formation of affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences of present indefinite tense, you must go and watch a video lecture. I'll be sharing the link in the description box. You must go and watch that so that you may first know that how should you identify that the given sentence is the present indefinite tense or anyone else. Here is its passive voice form. The house was the object. You will take it out in the start of the sentence. The house is. You added is because it's the rule that in the passive voice of present indefinite tense, you add is as the auxiliary verb. As the house was singular, that's why you added is with it. The house is decorated. Here, decorated is the third form of the verb. I have told you many times that you always put third form of the verb in the passive voice of present indefinite tense and in other tenses too. You added by and us. Here is the passive form of we. So you see that the house was the object. It has taken the position of the subject, and we was the subject. It has taken the position of the object, and its form has been changed. See the second sentence, which is the negative of present indefinite tense. We do not decorate the house. Following this formula, I have written this sentence. Now I'm going to convert it into its passive voice form. The house will be taken out in the start of the sentence as it is the rule. So you will say the house is not, because it's your negative sentence. Do not would be converted into is not. The house is not decorated by us. This is the interrogative sentence. Do we decorate the house? Now, following this formula, I have written this interrogative sentence of present indefinite tense. This is how we should convert it into its interrogative form. Is the house decorated by us? I hope now you understand that why I have taken out is in the start of the sentence, because it's the question. Do. Your statement had do in the start, so we converted that into is. Then we took out the object, which was the house in the start. So your sentence become is the house, the third form of the verb, decorated by us. Here is the exercise. I want you to have a close look at all these sentences in order to have proper grip on the topic. The first sentence is she gives me gifts. You can convert it into its passive voice form like this. I am given gifts by her. You can see that me and gifts both are the objects here. You can either bring me or you can bring gifts in the start of the sentence. So in case you have I in the start of the sentence, it would be like this. I am given, the third form of the verb, gifts by her. Or if you took out gifts at the start of the sentence, your sentence would look like gifts are given to me. Number two, he does not take my advice. So my advice will come in the start of the sentence. You will say my advice is not. Why did you add not? Because it's your negative sentence. It was does not. You will say is not. My advice is not taken by him. See the third sentence. Do you like chocolates? It's interrogative. So when you will convert it into its passive voice form, you will take out the auxiliary verb in the start. Chocolates is your plural, would be your plural subject. So you will say are chocolates. Are chocolates liked by you? See the fourth sentence. She goes to school. Now you see, she is the subject, goes is the verb, to school here is the complement. It is not the object. So you will say that we cannot convert it into passive voice because the sentence does not have any object. See the fifth statement. They do not invite us on the dinner. Now, us here is the object. You will say we. You will convert it into its passive voice form. That would be we. And as we are more people, it's the plural subject. You will say we are not, because it's your negative sentence. We are not invited on the dinner. You can omit by them or you can write that into this bracket form. Number six, does my mother eat an apple? It's your interrogative of present indefinite tense. So we'll say is an apple. An apple here was the object. So you will take it out in the start of the sentence. You will say is an apple eaten by my mother. I hope that this exercise would have helped you in understanding the concept and knowing that how can you convert the given active voice sentence of present indefinite tense into its passive voice form. Now, I want you to practice the following. You have to convert these sentences of present indefinite tense into their passive voice form. These sentences have been chosen for you to test that either you have proper grip on the topic or not. And after you have converted them into the passive voice form, you may match your answers from the solution which is given to you. Have good luck. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Allah Hafiz.